Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Untitled Chapter, back with a brand new video. Today's Saturday, the 15th of September, which means today's finance talk. And quite honestly, this is a very important talk. So before we begin, this is going to be some sort of legal discussion. So I want to give you guys a complete disclosure. I'm not a legal representative. I am not part of any court systems, or I'm not an attorney. I'm not registered, or I'm not barred to practice law. However, the information presented today is for your education, right? It's for you to understand. It's for educational purposes. If you're looking to exercise anything that I'm telling you and you want to confirm it, then I strongly advise you to get your own legal representative so that you can go through that information on your own and hopefully get the answer that you're looking for. So before we begin, I want you to understand that the information today that I'm sharing with you, as your guide and mentor, is essentially a piece of document that I feel a lot of people are not familiar with and or are underutilizing its effectiveness. And this document is called an affidavit, right? It's an affidavit. And what an affidavit is, in simple terms, is a document essentially that carries the full legal weight, as though you were being deposed or you're being sworn under testimony and under oath, to represent anything on that document to be truthful and factual and timely and accurate. And the only way to rebut this or rebuttal this, or let's say challenge it, is if somebody has a counter affidavit with a counter statement of facts sworn under testimony and oath. And at times what happens is, unfortunately, credit reporting agencies and or perpetrators who are putting up negative and derogatory items on your report don't necessarily have the time, the leisure, or let alone, the luxury to go ahead and do that for every single client that's bashing them with sworn testimony. So, of course, I'm not saying that this will guarantee the outcome that you're looking for. What I'm doing here is giving you something that you can work with that'll straighten your case when it comes to, let's say, facts that'll basically make it take them seriously. It's something to understand, and it's just the idea of essentially having somebody such as yourself going out of your way to create a document like this, going to a notary, getting it notarized under oath, and taking your time to send it certified to the credit reporting agencies. And you'll see that I put all three names here for a reason. I want you guys to understand that this is critical information. And when you look at it this way, when you present this information to the bureaus as they are, what happens is, they don't have a choice but to pay attention. Unlike letters and templates that they see on a regular basis, which is, they have a category for that and they'll place you automatically on the category, depending on, where you're at and what kind of letter you sent. This specific document carries a lot more weight. Now, this cannot be carried on its own. You can't just send this and assume that everything will be fine. There are additional things that you'll have to add to this document, and I'm going to help you, go through that and create a template of this type of document. And of course, this video is being recorded, so you can actually try yourself. You don't necessarily need to have an attorney to show you how to do this. Again, like I said, it's for educational and informational purposes. I am not an attorney nor a legal professional, but affidavits are found on the internet. Literally, templates. You can know how to write them. And my goal here is to show you what I've done, so you can take a look at it. If you feel inspired by it, then try it on your own. But don't take this as a matter of legal opinion or advice. Again, like I said, I am not an attorney or a representative of the law, but it is something that I want you to be educated on. Okay, so the first part of the affidavit. Now, this is basically like if you're actually in a case that you're exercising right now, like if you're being sued or if you're actually going to sue the credit reporting agencies. You can keep this information like that. So what you would do is number. And you can actually say case ID here. You don't have to say number. So if you want, we're going to do this together. So you say case ID number. And because we don't necessarily have a case yet, what you would do is you would say to be disclosed or be announced. Okay, something like that. So you leave it at that. So the court and jurisdiction. So it could be, let's say State Court of New York, and it could be Fifth Circuit, something around that nature. So you can also write State Court of New York. Here you can actually write TBA, to be announced. Okay. So this is like where you are, which state you're in. This is to be announced, and essentially to be announced. The reason why you want to keep it blank like that is because you don't have a case yet, unless otherwise you're actually being sued and you would put the representing information of that case in this document, right? And then what you would do is you create like almost an agreement type of situation, right? So you'd have your between. Who is it between? So you put your first and last name only as a plaintiff, because you're basically going to be suing them if you are. If not, then you are the defendant. But you say plaintiff, and you put the bureaus or whoever the perpetrators are down there. Now I'll put all three because I am planning to, let's say, for example, send a certified mail copy of this entire affidavit with its evidence attached to all three representing bureaus, because it's important and critical. Then you say this is an affidavit. Now I would take it a little bit further, and I would say affidavit of truth and facts, right? So affidavit of truth and facts. So this is the key, to make sure that your document is stating affidavit. And then you would start your facts. Now I put a list of facts here, but I'm going to show you how you can create your facts. First thing you want to do is you want to say I and your first and last name and where you're from and what state you're from. Make oath and say that, and this is essentially a fact, right? And I put this as an example. You don't have to worry too much about the legal verbiage. You can keep it very simple. You can say, my name is Ali Tarafter from, let's say, Montreal, Quebec, and this affidavit is an oath, is a testimony under oath, and I am declaring the following facts. And you put the facts, okay? You can keep it very simple. Now, this language is specifically used for my preferences. So you put yourself as who you are, as the president and CEO of whatever it is, or you can say as a resident of the state of New York, providing this sworn testament in consideration, for your consideration, and I'd like you to please consider the facts to be truthful and valid, okay? And then you put your first and last name is, of course, you want to start with that. You want to put your street name only and number. And then you go to the actual facts. So the first 2 to 3 facts should be basically who you are, what state you're from, what your first and last name is, what your street name number name is, and then you'd go for the actual facts after that. So let's say here I say, this is my second attempt at communicating with your offices. Now what you would do is you would label things like Exhibit B, Exhibit A, like Exhibit A. Exhibits are essentially attachments to the actual affidavit as evidence. So if you say Exhibit A, my ID, you'd put like a driver's license and your social security number. If you say Exhibit B is my first letter that I sent, so it could be several pages, but you put Exhibit B, a copy of those initial letters that you sent to them, right? And then you say all items listed in Exhibit C are invalid, inaccurate, not timely, and carry no documented evidence of their existence. To the least, they have not been authenticated as per my requirements, as you are damaging my character, creditworthiness, and well-being by falsely stating these non-compliant, unverifiable accounts on my report. So this is basically like a list of facts, okay? And number 6, just go a little bit further. You'd say, I have not received any confirmation on how you have verified the alleged accounts attached in Exhibit C, and therefore request that you consider this final notice to your offices. Now, you can say these things for 2 reasons. Number 1, you're actually swearing under oath, and you're actually sending them certified mail. Hopefully, process server can hand it over for you if you're actually going through a case. But if not, then certified mail does the trick. And what you would continue by saying is, past this point, the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, will have authenticated sworn testimony from my end, which is this document, right? which I would gladly present in court if need be as evidence of my trying to rectify the subterfuge. And subterfuge is essentially like a blatant lie, a false account, or basically borderline illegal that you're reporting, right? So that's a very powerful word to use. Just a heads up, right? And then you'd say, I have not received confirmation nor certified testimony. And you want to ask them this. Then you want to make them work a little bit harder, because this is your sworn testament, right? So the only way they can actually counter this is by having their own sworn testament, right? So to finish off, you say, I have not received confirmation nor certified testimony, which is the same thing that you're doing here, that your office has complied with the FCRA and all its mandated rules when it comes to reporting accurately. Therefore, you are to present me with a certificate and testimony, like a sworn testament, as this, that the alleged accounts presented in Exhibit C are in fact compliant and not subterfuge, right? Like which we just described in the previous fact. So when you do this like that, and actually, you can pause this, snapshot it, take your time, write it down on your own. But when you do it like this and you finish off the facts, and keep in mind, it doesn't have to be 6 and 7 in its exact order. Like I said, this is very small. You can have like 21 different facts or whatever it is, but keep in mind that these last two pieces are very critical, right? And then you would sign, wherever it is, you would sign, and then you would go to your exhibits. Now, together, we're gonna do a little bit of the exhibits, right? So exhibits would be something that you would present in fact. So let's say Exhibit A, please find attached copy of my driver's license, right? And then you would attach the driver's license. So, for the sake of keeping this simple, let's just draw a little box here. Let's say that's your driver's license, right? And then I'm not sure what this is. Okay, perfect. And then let's say, you have your exhibit B. So exhibit B, attached is the original letter sent to your offices, because we're going to stick to what we stated in the facts, right? And then you would attach that letter here, and then let's say we go to, I'm going to show you how to label your accounts the right way, right? So here we go. Now this is Exhibit C. Attached are the non-compliant, inaccurate, and unverifiable accounts that have not been certified under testimony of facts. Something like that. Very simple. Literally, you can copy it word for word. But let's assume this is it, okay? Now what you would do is never say account, right? What you would say is alleged account. Let's say it was Bank of America. And then alleged account number. And you would say something like, whatever the, let's say, numbers are, right? And what you want to do, you want to label them. Okay. 1, and then you would say alleged account 2. It says City Bank or something like that. Alleged account number. So you get the idea, right? So what you would do is you would list out the information, and then essentially, this would be Exhibit C. So once you do that, what happens, right? Like you don't actually necessarily have to send another dispute letter or challenge letter or whatever it is. This document on its own challenges them under testimony and sworn evidence that they're not really compliant. You're challenging that. Now, the only way to counter this is really to write their own sworn testimony and get back to you. Now, once you send them a copy, right? Once you send them a copy of this specific affidavit, what happens now is you give it 5 business days, right? So after 5 business days, what you can do is you can actually upload this information to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly, what you can do and how you can do it so that it's easier for you to follow. Now, I know you're going to see a blank screen here. Don't worry about that. I'm fixing that for you guys. So let's see. So this is what you should be seeing, okay? So here we go. Now we're at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Now recall that this is the document that we just completed. Once you guys have completed that, you go to Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. 5 business days later, you keep it on your calendar, right? And then you go on top and submit a complaint just to make sure that they actually did receive it, because you'd have certified mail, so you'd have their signatures. And the only time you would actually submit a complaint to the CFPB is when you know for a fact that they received the confirmation of your letters and stuff like that, right? Now remember that we talked about the 15-day power search. So if you see here, it says, tell us about your issue. We'll forward it to the company and work to get your response generally within 15 days, right? We talked about that last time. Now, what you're doing is you're going to be attaching your affidavit. So you start a new complaint. And what you would do is, you have several screens to follow. Now, depending on the issue, the general issue is, what you want to do is, if you haven't received a response from the credit bureau, or the response weren't really what you were looking forward to, and you felt that it was incomplete, you want to go to credit reporting, and then you want to go to credit reporting. So again, it's going to ask you, what is the complaint about? You go to credit reporting. What type of credit reporting product? Credit reporting. And you continue. And what would happen is you'd land on a screen that's going to ask you exactly what this specific issue is. Now, what you got to say is, problem with credit reporting company's investigation into an existing problem. Of course, your affidavit essentially is stating that I sent you a copy of my letter, a while back, and you can see it in exhibit, let's say B, and that you have not responded effectively, or you haven't fixed the issue. So when you go back to the CFPB, what you're doing is you're going to say, like, they haven't really done the job the proper way. Now, what best describes your problem? What you got to say is, their investigation did not fix an error on your report. Okay, that's what you got to state. And have you already tried to fix this problem? Yes, you have, because in fact they responded and it wasn't satisfactory, and therefore you have the right to request the CFPB to actually look into it. Now we're going to continue, and I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to file it effectively. So in this space, it's going to ask you to describe what happened, of course, and then what the problem you would want. So in the affidavit, you have a section that we talked about. What you can do is simply attach the number 6. I've not received any confirmation on you verified the alleged accounts. Just put that in. And actually on the CFPB's portal, once you do that, you just type in copied from the affidavit attached. And just put a bunch of stars there, okay? Because you want them to know that this actually is a sworn testimony, so they can't really ignore it, right? So that's it. If you want, you can have the complaint published in the actual CFPB's website as a log. So what have I attached, guys, right? Like, what have I put in this section? So essentially, it's part of the affidavit. And I said, like, you guys pause this video and write this down. What it's stating in this facts, and like I said, these last 2 facts are the most crucial ones, is I said, I have not received any confirmation on how you verified the alleged accounts attached in Exhibit C. Now, if you remember, Exhibit C is essentially attached are the non-compliant, inaccurate, and unverifiable accounts that have not been certified under testimony of facts. These are all the non-compliant accounts that you want removed. But you're stating that in this last, before last and final fact, you're saying, I have not received any confirmation on how you have verified the alleged accounts attached in the Exhibit C, and therefore request that you consider this the final notice to your offices. Past this point, the CFPB will be authenticated. Sworn testimony from my end, which I would gladly present in court if need be, as evidence of my trying to rectify the subterfuge that you are reporting. Now, we put this information, and we basically put the same in CFPB, but we put a little disclosure here. It says copied from the affidavit. Now, like I said, you can have this as a something that you want to put in a portal so people can look it up. If not, then that's okay. What would you like as a fair resolution? I would say I would like the, let's say, defendants, who are the people on the other side, to comply and present me with sworn testimony of facts that the alleged accounts are in fact accurate. And if not, the subterfuge should be removed immediately. You guys going to see I got a little bit of errors there. Of course, thanks to Grammarly, fixed that right away. Okay, so you got that. And then you would attach that affidavit once you guys fix it. Then you would continue, right? And then essentially you will file the complaint, and you say, you know, who is it that you're actually filing against? Now you can add multiple companies. Now keep in mind in the affidavit, we talked about all the three bureaus, right? So what you want to do in the in the actual complaint itself, you want to put the first company, then you want to put the second company, and then you want to put another company. So you would put the Equifax, you put Experian and TransUnion. And when they're asking you what information do you have, just put the name as it appears in your report, and that should be your first and last name only, okay? All the time, first and last name only, nothing else. Don't put no social security or date of birth, just put your first and last name only. And then on the final step, they're gonna ask you to verify your address and all that good stuff. But essentially, that's it. That's how you process sworn testimony. And just to give you guys the steps once again, you know, you keep it very simple. It's between who, yourself, and the three bureaus. You can, if you're running a court case, put the information on top, which court, you know, which jurisdiction, your first and last name as the defendant or plaintiff, the bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, whoever the perpetrators are, affidavit of truth and facts. The first thing is I, Ali Tarafter of Montreal, Quebec, make oath and say, or you can say, my name is Ali Tarafter, and please declare this as a testimony under oath, and I am stating the following facts, or whatever it is. It's very simple for you. I'm a citizen of Montreal, Quebec. I'm providing this sworn testimony for your consideration. My first and last name is and only is whatever it is. In Exhibit A, you'll find my ID, my street number, and name is and only is whatever it is. And then, of course, you start with the actual facts itself. But like I said, the first three should definitely be who you are, where you're from, and where you live, but not the full address, just the name and number of the actual street. And then finally, you start with the facts. And the last two pieces of facts should be pretty much verbatim right here. So if you guys want, just pause this video, write this down. And once again, I want you guys to keep in mind, I am not an attorney or a lawyer. I'm not giving you legal advice. These are just for educational purposes and for you to understand exactly, you know, how an affidavit should be prepared and why you need this if you want to get some results. Essentially, if you're not having success with disputing, challenging, whatever it is, just prepare this, submit it under the CFPB. Only submit it to the CFPB when you have a confirmation of your registered mail that they actually did receive the mail. And then finally, you know, finish it off with that. So with that said and done, I hope you guys got some idea of why this is important, why you need to have an affidavit, and why it's difficult for the other side to respond with one, because it's too resource intensive and they're really trying to minimize their time to try to quickly, you know, create a verified account status for you. But now you're making them work extra. And of course, the timely factor is going to be an issue there. So go ahead and do that. You know, have a look through this document. Like I said, pause this video, read it out, and of course, you know, good luck. And if you guys want, just test it on your own. Try this. Try to write it out on your own and see if it's good. And you know, I'd love to hear from you guys to see, you know, if it actually does make sense. Well, I don't want to be over inundated with emails, but I do invite you to go to my website and contact me at bestcreditresources.com. If you have issues with credit repair, I got you. We can take care of you. There's a very intensive program, 6 months in. Every month, we're going to have a coaching, a mentoring call, and give you guidance on what you do to improve and enhance your existing reports, as well as to get you squared away so that you can do whatever it is that you want. Specifically, if you're looking for real estate, getting into a home, and or financing a business, we got your back. Okay, so this is Ali Tarafter, your guide and mentor. Back to you with another brand new video. If you like the content that you saw today and found this to be very informative and helpful to you, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and this is your first time hearing me, don't forget to subscribe and turn that bell icon on. So every time there's a brand new video like this, at least you'll be first to be notified. And beyond that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. Bye for now.